I moved from New York to Chicago about a year ago, and honestly, I didn't expect dating to be this different. I spent 5 years in New York City navigating the dating scene there, and if you've ever dated in NYC, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's intense, it's fast, and it often feels more like a job interview than an actual connection. In New York, everyone is always looking for the next best thing. You match with someone on an app, you text for a few days, you finally meet for drinks, and within the first 5 minutes, you can tell they're already scanning the room for someone better. It's not personal, it's just how the city operates. There's this constant underlying pressure to prove your worth, to show that you're ambitious enough, successful enough, interesting enough. And the women in New York, they're incredible, don't get me wrong. They're driven, they're educated, they know what they want. But many of them are also emotionally guarded because they've been burned so many times. They've dated the finance guy who ghosted them, the artist who wasn't ready to commit, the entrepreneur who was married to his startup. So by the time you meet them, there's this wall, and you have to work really hard to break it down if you even get the chance. Dating in New York feels like a marathon where you don't know the finish line. You're constantly swiping, constantly meeting new people, but rarely feeling like you're actually getting somewhere. And the paradox of choice there is real. With so many options, nobody wants to settle, nobody wants to commit, because what if someone better is just one swipe away? That mindset leaves a lot of people lonely in a city of 8 million. I remember going on dates where the other person would literally bring up their career achievements within the first 10 minutes, not because they were bragging, but because they genuinely didn't know how to connect on any other level. In New York, your job becomes your identity. And when that happens, dating turns into a transaction. You're not looking for love, you're looking for someone who fits into your schedule, someone who doesn't demand too much emotional energy because you're already exhausted from work. And that exhaustion, that burnout, it becomes a cycle. You go on dates feeling tired, you don't show up as your best self, you don't get a second date, and then you blame the city, the apps, the opposite gender. But the truth is, New York just amplifies whatever is already broken inside you. If you're insecure, it makes you more insecure. If you're afraid of commitment, it gives you endless reasons to run. And after 5 years of that, I didn't just want to leave the city. I wanted to leave the version of myself that had learned to accept that as normal. When I first moved to Chicago, I honestly didn't expect much to change. I thought dating is dating, right? A city is a city. But within the first few weeks, I started noticing something different. People here actually smile at you. They make eye contact. They don't look through you like you're just another person taking up space on the sidewalk. I remember my first date in Chicago. I was genuinely shocked. We met at this cozy little coffee shop near the lake. Nothing fancy, just a casual afternoon thing. And she was actually present. She wasn't checking her phone every 2 minutes. She wasn't bringing up her career every other sentence to establish her status. We just talked. We talked about our families, our weird hobbies, what we were genuinely passionate about. And by the end of it, I realized something. I hadn't felt that comfortable on a first date in years. In Chicago, dating feels slower, more intentional. There's this Midwest warmth that seeps into everything. People here value connection over status. They want to know who you are, not just what you do for a living. And the women in Chicago, they're different too. They're still ambitious, still successful, but they're more grounded. They don't feel the need to prove themselves every second because the city itself isn't as cutthroat as New York. There's more space to breathe here, literally and emotionally, and that changes how people show up in relationships. In Chicago, a second date actually means something. In New York, a second date sometimes felt like just another item on a never-ending to-do list. I started noticing that conversations here go deeper faster. People ask you questions that matter. They want to know about your childhood, your fears, your dreams. In New York, the first question is almost always, what do you do? In Chicago, the first question is often, what do you do for fun? And that shift in priority changes everything. When you're not constantly performing, when you're not trying to prove your value through your job title, you actually have the energy to connect. I also noticed that dating apps in Chicago feel different. Matches here actually respond. They actually want to meet. In New York, I would match with someone, exchange a few messages, and then nothing, just silence. In Chicago, people follow through. They show up. And that consistency, that reliability, it builds trust. It makes you feel like dating isn't a waste of time. It makes you feel like love might actually be possible. Now look, I'm not saying one city is better than the other across the board. It really depends on what you're looking for. If you thrive on intensity, if you love the chaos and the ambition and the constant hustle, New York might be your place. You might meet someone who pushes you, who challenges you, who keeps you on your toes. And there's something beautiful about that too. But if you're tired of swiping through hundreds of faces and still feeling alone on a Saturday night, if you want someone who actually wants to know your favorite movie or what made you cry last year, Chicago might surprise you. I've had more genuine conversations in my first 6 months here than I did in my last 2 years in New York. And I think part of it is the culture of the city itself. Chicagoans are proud of their city, but they're not arrogant about it. They're open, they're friendly, and they actually want to build something real. I'm not saying dating here is perfect. There are still bad dates, there are still people who ghost, there are still moments of frustration. But the overall vibe is different. It's calmer, it's more human. And for someone like me who spent years feeling like I was running on a treadmill in New York, coming to Chicago felt like finally stepping off and actually looking around. I remember one night I was walking by the lake, just watching the sunset, and I realized I hadn't felt that kind of peace in years. In New York, I was always rushing to the next thing, the next date, the next opportunity. I never stopped to ask myself if I was actually happy. And in Chicago, I finally had the space to ask that question. The answer wasn't instant. It took time. But just being able to ask it, just being able to sit with it, that was progress. So if you've dated in both cities, I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. Were you Team New York or did Chicago win you over too? And if you're still out there searching in either city, just know this. The right person isn't about the city you're in. It's about finding someone who sees you, really sees you, no matter how many people are standing next to you on the train. That's what I learned. And that's what I wish I knew 5 years ago. Because at the end of the day, love isn't about geography. It's about timing, it's about growth, and it's about being ready to receive what you've always been asking for. Whether you're in New York, Chicago, or anywhere else, the work starts with you. The city is just the backdrop. You're the main character. And until you realize that, no city will ever be enough. This is Men Decoded, where we don't shame women, don't blame men, and don't avoid the truth. We decode it.